today we are graphing radical functions. And a radical function is one that has a variable under the radicand, so typically what you think of as the square root symbol. So the first two want me to graph the function and then state the domain and range. So what I first want to do here is I want to go to Desmos. So I'm going to type in my first equation. So it looks like this. Square root symbol? Yeah. SQRT. So my domain is where this function starts at, and goes to for my x values. So it starts at 0 and it goes right forever. So my domain here is going to be x is greater than or equal to 0, because the x value starts at 0 and goes right forever. Then for my range, that's where the y values start at. So it's starting at 0 and going up forever. So this one is going to be y is greater than or equal to 0. Then I want to go ahead and do the same thing for number 2. So I want to go ahead and type this one into Desmos. When I do this one, to get this symbol, I'm going to type CBRT. Okay, so for this one, it's going left and right forever. So what I'm going to write for my domain is all real numbers. And then it's doing it very slowly, but it's also going up and down forever. So my range here is also going to be all real numbers. Cube-roots, and in general, any odd root, so like 5th or 7th, would also be all real numbers for domain and range. So then we have our transformations. These are the same ones we've seen over and over again. If it's moving left or right, it's in parentheses with the x or under a radical. are opposite the sign, so this top one is going right 2, and the bottom one is going left 3. Vertical translations are outside of the radical, so the top one is going up 7, and the bottom one is going down 1. Okay. I have my 2 reflections. One is across the x-axis, one is across the y-axis. The one inside the radical is y-axis. And the one outside the radical is I like to think of it like it's opposite of what it would seem. So if it's in front of the x, it doesn't flip the x, it flips the y. Okay, and then the last 2 things I have are vertical stretches and shrinks. The 4 is a stretch or shrink. No. Stretch. Remember, whole numbers larger than 1 are always stretches. And less than 1, more than 0 are shrinks. Bless you. Okay. So numbers 3 and 4 want me to describe the transformation and then graph it. So what is changing from G and F? Okay, so right 3, and then what else? Up 4. So if I graph this, I should see those 2 different translations. And then I want to remember to arrow out of the radical to do the plus 4, otherwise it'll still have it in there. So notice the starting point, it went right 3 and then up 4. on number 4, what is different? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So vertical stretch means that when I graph this, the graph should get skinnier, and the reflection means it should flip. So I'm going to graph. So it's really stretched out, and then it's flipped. If I zoom out, you can kind of see. Okay. Then the last thing I want to go over is one where I have to write the rule. It says let G be a vertical shrink by a factor of 1/6. So this is my first step. And then 3 units to the left, which is going to be my second step. I want me to write a rule for G. So I'm going to have G of X equals, the vertical shrink gets multiplied on the outside of the original function. So all I have is the cube root of X. That isn't going to change much, it just gets written on the outside. Then for my second step, I'm going to go 3 units to the left. So that goes inside the radical, opposite the sign. So left is normally minus, so I'm going to do plus 3. And then this will be my final answer. Okay. So on number 6, when I went ahead and graphed this, it should look like it look kind of like, whoa, I typed this all wrong. It should look like this. So what is my domain here? And my range? Yep. And then I want to go ahead and graph number 7. Number 7. So my domain here And my range. Bless you. Okay. On number 8, what kind of transformations are going on here? So then I want to go ahead and graph these to see the changes. Good morning. Then I want to see what my changes are for number 9. What kind of changes are going on here? Is it Y? Okay. So then I want to go ahead and graph this. Okay. Number 10 is having a vertical stretch by a factor of 3 and then going 6 units to the right. So my first transformation, because it is a vertical stretch, is going to multiply on the outside of my original function. And then the second one, since it's going to the right, is inside the radical, opposite the sign. So right would normally be positive, so opposite of that is minus. That was 6, not 2. And this is my final answer.